You're watching Washington on CBS 10 WILM. Here's your host, Don Ansell.
Randy Jones, the original Village People cowboy. Who chose that image, by the way?
Well, this image, this is my contribution to those 6 characters up there. This is my little 6th part of it.
Who wrote the songs?
We had a huge staff of writers.
You did.
There were Jacques Morelli as composer. He's credited as composer, of the music on all the songs. Horace Ott was the great arranger who made sense of a melody.
Were you surprised at the success?
Yeah, because I went to New York wanting to be on Broadway. That's musical theater. I've done about 45 shows.
Yeah.
Chicago.
And you're doing something off Broadway.
And I'm doing an off-Broadway show right now, which is not musical, but it's acting.
How did you all get along?
Well,
the original group.
The original 6 of us were like a band of brothers. We had a baptism by fire. We all went into something thinking, it may last, it may not. It sounds kind of silly to us. It really, to us, it was kind of silly, get up there and dress up like a cowboy and a construction worker and a motorcycle rider and sing Macho Man.
What about?
Would you have given that a long lifetime?
It never cease to amaze, does it?
No.
Well, this was the 70s, 80s. Drug culture was rampant.
Yeah, I mean, 60s was pot and,
Was there a lot of that going on?
I saw it everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But then again, that was a time, if you got to remember, Studio 54, it was the Hollywood movie industry. It was Bob Evans. It was Steve McQueen. It was everybody. At that point in time, cocaine was not considered addictive. Cocaine was not considered harmful. I think they said it was not physically addictive. It's psychological habit forming or something like that. There was a lot of drugs. I am very lucky that I had a good education and I could keep thinking straight, and I did not fall prey to a lot of things that so many people of my generation are either dead from or impaired from, like Ozzy Osbourne.
Did you think it would ever end?
Yeah, I'm an actor. Every job ends. You have to look for another one. I had no idea that something I did at 24 years old, San Francisco, Hollywood, Macho Man, YMCA, in the Navy, and Can't Stop the Music, would still be making me smile 30-some years later.
You grew up in North Carolina.
Yeah.
What was your family like?
Well, my family, they founded the first motorcycle club in North Carolina in 1959.
Yeah.
The first one in Raleigh, 1959. So I rode motorcycles the early part of my life. I always, looking back on some of those home movies that they have, I was always the kind of kid that, thank God they didn't have Ritalin back then, because I was always hyperactive, and if they turned the camera on, I was in front of it.
Did they encourage you?
Well, they didn't make me sit down. And also because I was like an honor society and service club. I made very good grades in school, so that when I was 11 years old and I started being cast in the Raleigh Little Theater productions, I was a very well-behaved child and a cooperative one, so that they couldn't really come up with a reason to deny me to do other things.
What music did you listen to growing up?
Mostly R&B, I think, and country western music. I remember Willie Nelson when he had a flat top. You know what I'm saying? I remember Conway Twitty and Chet Atkins.
Were they your idols? Who did you want to be like?
Well, that's who my father listened to. And he had cousins who were in the music business. And I had uncles who were in, as far back as the 30s, recorded for Blue Note and for RCA. Where the cowboy-looking guys like Homer. You ever heard of Homer Breyer Opera?
Yeah.
Remember he used to do that show?
Yeah.
Don't you? Well, yeah. So I mean, all those people were in these bands.
So you wanted to be an actor?
Oh,
and you could sing?
Yes. I never thought of doing anything more than being on the stage. Now and I'm very fortunate for that.
Did you dream about becoming a pop star? Was that
Well,
in your
I mean, you know,
field of vision?
no. Interestingly enough, I didn't. No, that wasn't. That's why it was a wonderful opportunity and something completely fresh when it came out of left field. The opportunity for me to do it.
What did you think you were going to do when you grew up?
I thought I was going to go to New York and be in musicals.
Oh, you did?
I did. That's what I really was. My goal was, because I'd done several musicals before I even got to college, and then I did even more. And I thought, oh, you go to New York, you audition, you get on Broadway, and you do 8 shows a week. Now I realize that the people who do that, my God, it's like going to work in a factory where you've got to focus
pretty
your
demanding.
entire day on what you have to give to an audience 3 hours a night, and it's like you're tied to a factory.
How long did the Village People run last for you?
First time it ran, my first one was 4 years, and then I laid out of it until 1986 when I pulled the guys back together.
You
and
did
I,
that?
Yeah, I ran.
The original guys?
All except for the original cop. I pulled back in the cop that replaced him because the original cop was in and out of jail and all kinds of stuff like that. Or whatever.
And what'd you do? Tour as a nostalgic?
Oh no, we first I went in 1986. I went to the guy who put the Monkees tour back together, David Fishoff. He had been Phil Simms' agent and manager, and I got him to agree to manage us to do the same thing for us that he had done for the Monkees, and we reunited and we started. The first tour was in Australia for 6 weeks, and never looked back.
They knew you in Australia.
Believe this, Don, as popular as people may recall that we were in America, overseas we were 10 times more popular.
Really?
Yeah.
And now it's kind of like a perpetual franchise.
Now it's like something so deeply ingrained in pop culture that there are generations born that never saw or never, but if you do these 4 letters, they smile, they laugh. And you know what? There's nothing better than having a career and a cachet that the first thing when people either recognize you physically, hear that you're part of a group, or is a smile.
Is there a Village People group touring today?
Our business entity, we have a group that tours as Village People.
Same images, cowboy.
The same images, yeah, because those 6 images together are a service mark. And maybe two original guys. I don't do it, but
2 originals
only
are still touring?
Yeah, and they're
really.
We said we weren't going to discuss age, but they're older than us.
Are they still as relevant today as?
Well, they still, you know,
or is
packed
it
places, 15, 20,000 people. It's kind of relevant.
All right. So after the Village, after it stopped, how difficult was it to establish yourself as a solo artist?
Well, after the second time, in 91, 92, I thought, oh, you know, first of all, I thought I don't want to be touring out on the road as much, with as much anymore. So I pulled back and concentrated on my relationship. I have a relationship for 26 years that doesn't have to be impended upon touring on the road, especially when I can tour now as a solo artist when I want to make the dates. But if I'm with a group of 5 other guys, you kind of have to tour when they can do it as well.
We're going to take another break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to talk about life after the Village People, books, off-Broadway, film. We'll return with Randy Jones right after this.